I am super pumped for our buddy, my friend Kaleo Kina from Virginia Beach, who's joining us this morning. Like always, we only bring the best to our Friday calls. And Kaleo and I had an opportunity. We've known each other a little while. Kaleo, of course, knows Dan Lyden, new father, Kaleo. Dan's got a baby in tow, man. Like, I mean, we are very proud to have Dan here today, by the way. For those of you who don't know, did I blow it, Dan? Did I just make the
No, I,
announcement on your
I
behalf?
brought her on the call yesterday.
All
So
right, awesome. So
And
yeah,
it's, on-
Dan,
and it's Facebook official. So I was gonna say he's on
Facebook
here. He
official,
just
true.
had
That's
the
right.
baby yesterday. Congrats, brother.
yeah, I
That's
broke
right.
the internet.
You broke the internet, exactly. Yeah. Baby Addison. So we're excited. So Dan and Kaleo have known each other a long time. So I guess it was it two weeks ago, Kaleo, that we were in Virginia together at Washington D.C. Both Kaleo and I were asked to join our friend Rob Chavez to present on a topic of leadership, and Kaleo gave a presentation that was just so good. I begged him to come and share it with us. So today he's going to walk us through some of the thinking and process that he goes through as a leader. And I might interrupt him once in a while and ask a question, but Kaleo, thank you for joining us. Appreciate you very much, my friend.
No, absolutely. It's an honor and a privilege to be here. And so I'm ready to get to it. And when Matt says that we've known each other, I just want to give a huge compliment and love to your guys' organization. What that means is I've been a fanboy of your guys' organization, how you guys have been built. And so while I have a pretty substantial business that I'm proud of, you guys are the business that I'm looking forward to trying to accomplish what you guys have accomplished. And the fact that so many of you are here on an 8:30 call on a Friday is a testament to your culture. There's a lot of people that just talk about it, right? But they don't walk the talk. I mean, I have 11 agents and I can't tell you how hard it is to get them on an 8:30 call. That's just a conference line. I don't even ask them to be on a Zoom or in person. So kudos to you guys, and how you guys show up is how I want to show up. So my energy is just starting to tick up here a little bit, but I'm excited at the opportunity to bring as much value as I can for sure.
Well, there's no doubt, man. And by the way, right, like that is the testimony, right? We show up. It's part of what we do. So Kaleo, I want to hear, that thinking process that you brought to Virginia, right? When you were ready. Do we want to you had some slides. You want to put those up? We can do that for you.
Yeah, absolutely. So I believe Corey, she's amazing, by the way, great communication. If I can get her a bonus or a raise, this is my pitch for her.
I love it. He's the man, dude. That's just how he operates too. He's just all for the people. Love it.
I'm gonna share my presentation. So this is a kicker. I need a little grace in it, but I just want real feedback. Why do I say that? This presentation was a challenge for me, and I'll get into that in the presentation. But it was delivered in person. And if you know me, my energy, my vibe is in person engagement. And so when Matt asked me to present this, obviously I'm all in. But I'm like, man, it's via Zoom. So this is going to be the first time that I try this opportunity via Zoom. But you're not going to get no less energy or no less value, I believe. But I've never presented it like on a PowerPoint via Zoom. So who knows? It might go great, and you guys might be
It's
my
going to be amazing, dude.
step up to
This will be the only way you do it moving forward. It's like the old, can I even do a buyer consult over Zoom? And then once you did, it's like, why did I ever do it in person? Like, wow. Yeah. Hit that purple button down on the bottom, buddy.
As you can see, it wasn't hard for him to convince me. He just walked in. Got it. Can you guys see the presentation, or do you see my entire screen?
We could see it. Hit that enter full screen mode button. You see that one?
No worries. They had a presenter view, so I was op testing a presenter view. I didn't know if that was just for. I can go full presentation mode. Bang. Did that work?
Hit enter full screen mode, and then yeah.
Do you see that button that's right in front that says enter full screen mode, Kaleo?
No.
There's a window. It says audience window.
Audience window. Okay, so I'm in the PowerPoint.
Ready? Hit the present on the top right.
Top right.
And then if you go down.
Present full screen.
Full screen. Yep.
Yeah.
That should work.
And presenter view.
There you go.
Voila.
Voila. Well,
We
hopefully
got it, man.
I'm better than a Canva presenter. I can tell you that I am not Canva certified. And so I do have my own ops team, but if you guys are ready, I'm ready.
We're ready, man. We're in.
All right. So here we go. Aloha, amigos and amigas. My name is Kaleo Kina, aka Agent K, and I'm super excited at the opportunity to be here today, right? And so, as Matt had just discussed, the conversation that we had today, or that I was challenged with presenting, was friends from afar. Matt, Rob, Chavez, Dan had indicated that I may have had something that impressed them, that my mindset, the way I moved in life, that the way that I attacked things that they saw from afar, and they're like, "Hey, Kay, I'd love if you came to my world and talked to my people about your mindset, your mentality, your leadership history." And although that seems like a simple question, has anybody here ever tried to explain leadership, like in their own words? Like, how do they lead every day? Have you ever had to explain what your mindset is, right? And so, in and of itself, at that moment, I was like, yeah, I'll do it. 2 days later, I'm like, wait a minute. How am I going to explain this, right? How do you explain leadership? How do you explain your mentality? And kind of like Matt, I loved his presentation because it was sports specific. I played basketball. And so like, I'm like, Mamba mentality. I'm like, I'm gonna use that. But I'm like, wait a minute, that's somebody else's thing. And so as we step through this, we're gonna talk about how I frame and my anchor point for what a championship mindset is. And I'm gonna take leadership lessons from Kina Arena. And what I mean from that is from arenas in my life. And when I break that down, I've lived a very full life and I'm happy about where I'm at. But I'm a Naval Academy grad. I'm a Hall of Fame basketball player. I'm a real estate business builder, and I have an amazing family. And so I'm going to take leadership lessons from each segment of my life to share with you what my framing and mindset is around a championship mindset and how to lead people. And so as we continue, that was the request. Matt's like, hey, first Rob was like, come present it to my people on 2 weeks' notice. I'm like, okay, well, thanks for the heads up, right? I'm going to figure this out. And so I started going through that process. Then Matt's like, bro, that was amazing. I'd love my people to be introduced to this. Can you do this for me via Zoom on 2 weeks' notice? I'm like, all right, here we go. I'm like, it only takes one, but the opportunity to be in circles around him, around you guys, is something that I'll be remiss if I passed on. And so this is me showing up for a request that can be uncomfortable, that you might not be prepared for, right? This is only my second. Now, I've led my whole life, but this is my only second time presenting this topic, right? Which I just created 2 months ago. Now, I created it 2 months ago, but I've been living it my whole life, and which you'll see what I mean here shortly. And so that was the challenge, right? How do you frame leadership? Now, I said I was in the military, so I could have went the easy route. I could have just took the man in the arena, which is an amazing quote, and just said, I'm going to dissect that line for line and apply it to the world, right? It is not the critic who counts. It is not the man who points out where the strong man stumbled or where the doer of deeds could have done them better. The credit belongs to the man who was actually in the arena. I could have did really good things with that. Like, that's an amazing quote. And I was an English major. I can definitely break that down and make it sound good. But then I was like, well, while that has some authenticity, that's not necessarily me in its totality. And I don't want to do something that I can't 100% believe in. Then I went basketball and I was like, Mamba mentality, always working to be the best version of yourself. Everybody loves a good Kobe Bryant quote, right? Or a mindset. And I'm like, well, that is applicable and basketball has changed my life. But if I'm talking to a bunch of real estate professionals, when you look at the age, sex, location, demographic, is it going to be relatable to everybody in this industry, which is the industry I'm in? Like maybe, maybe not. So I'm still thinking about how I'd want to do it, right? And so then as I continued to process, I started to walk down a tunnel of framing that presented a challenge that became an amazing opportunity for me. How can I show up in front of Matt Miale, in front of Rob Chavez, in front of top producers, in front of these leaders, and really speak to leadership at the level of which I could be proud of? And so what it flipped in my head was, all right, this isn't a challenge. This is an amazing opportunity to really sit in thought and be like, what does leadership mean to me? How have I shown up or not shown up? What are the best examples that I've had? if I were to explain it to people, what would it be? How would I say it? Like, how can you articulate truly the value prop of leadership, similar to buyer presentations, listing presentations, lead generate? How can I articulate a value to people that's like, oh, he's going to talk about leadership? So then I thought, well, if I'm presenting to people that I know, people have seen my whole life. They know who I am. They know what I stand for. There's a huge anchor point. And what I thought to myself in presenting to groups where I know Matt and Rob and not necessarily their people was, how do I get them closer to me so they can understand the anchor point or foundation on which my framework then can launch pad into? And so before I get started, the most important thing I think that matters right now is that you guys learn about who Agent K is. Who is Kaleo Kina? Why am I on the call, right? Why do I matter? Who am I to talk to you about leadership, right? And so I'm not saying I'm the guru. I'm not saying you should absolutely listen to me, but I am saying that I have a lot of leadership experience, and I'm going to explain to you that very quickly. So I'm going to introduce you to Agent K, aka Kaleo Kina. And before I get started, this is my amazing wife. Before my presentation, she always shows me love. And I always get nervous just before game time, just before a big listing appointment, just before showing up to an important thing that's like means something to you, right? I always tell her, she's like, how you feeling? I'm like, a little nervous, but you know I'm gonna be good once the lights come on. And she texts me this morning and says, good luck at your presentation. Let them know who the F you are. And that's our relationship. And so at this moment, I think she meant it kind of literally, but I'm going to use it in the presentation and say, hey, I want to let you guys know who the F I am. And so for the next 10 minutes, please bear with me as I do a lot of talking. You guys ready to go?
Let's roll.
All right.
So good.
Let's go. Sorry.
Let's go.
So I'm letting you know into my
I'm in
head.
a hotel lobby, so I'll wake everybody up at 6:30 in the morning. But
so first and foremost, I'm a family man. I'm Hawaiian. Ohana is a real thing, right? And so family means a lot to me. I'm a husband, a father, and a son. The Kina family is my family. My wife is Kat. She's my anchor. I was raised by 3 women, my mom, my grandma, my aunt. So my framework for leadership initially was like, women are the most powerful beings in the world. Like, that's me. You can call it PTSD, you can call it daddy issues, right? But like, I believed women were everything. I had 3 stepdads, so I think my mom might have been a pimp. I don't know if that's appropriate to call or not, but my mama was holding it down. But what I do know is that she loved me through everything, and women are the thing in my life, right? So my wife is now my anchor point. As you can see, kind of like Dan, I've been on a childhood journey. I have 5 kids under 8, Kaleo Jr., Callie, Kaya, Kaylee, and Kainoa, all intentional. And I don't know why I say that. Maybe because I thought I was an accident when my mom had me, even though she's loved me. But I've had every one of my children intentionally to grow my family, and I'm proud of that. And so that's just a me thing. And I will say,
it's probably also, Kaleo, because when you say you have 5 kids, most people are like, right, on purpose. Like, that's a big family, buddy. Like, that's above average, above average performer. So
yeah, I joke around and tell people I'm a top producer in life. It's not
there it is.
And I will say, we are pregnant again. And so our next baby's due in July. So we're super excited about that. I got the text, Matt, while we were in Virginia. I just never said anything. So
That's
we have a doctor
amazing.
appointment to confirm it. We're hoping for.
Congratulations.
Thank you. And if we can get 3 boys, 3 girls, I promise I'll be done. I'll be good after that. So if you guys can send me boy energy, I would really appreciate it. And I'll love the baby no matter what. Obviously, I got 3 girls already, but I love women and I love girls, but they are a challenge. I'll tell you that much.
Yes, indeed.
And so that's my family. I love them dearly. It's everything in my life, right? My basketball career. So when I say I played basketball, I'm not the guy that played JV. I'm not the guy that played intramurals. Like, I played basketball. And I say that just like I say in real estate. There's people that say they do real estate and there's people that do real estate, right? And so in basketball, I went to Trevor Brown High School. I'm in my high school Hall of Fame. I went to the Naval Academy and played basketball, which is Division I, right? So I made Patriot League All Rookie Team. All league. I was the first player to make the first district team since David Robinson in 1987. David Robinson is a top 50 NBA player in all time of history. And in the military, I served 8 years. while I was in the military, I was able to play on the All Armed Forces team, and I won a gold medal in 2016. And so basketball has been a major part in my life. And while I didn't have a father growing up per se, I did have multiple father figures, coaches, mentors that provided that for me growing up. And so basketball wasn't just a sport that I played, it was an arena where I learned life lessons at all levels, right? And so I'm super excited about what I accomplished. And now all of my kids are in basketball. That as soon as they turn, my girl and my son, my oldest, are both on teams, and they work out at a pretty high level. So they're little rock stars. I am a military veteran. I was a 2009 USNA grad, as I said. I served 8 years as a surface warfare officer. What that means is I served on ships. I like to say I served on real warships, which are cruisers and destroyers, because the news and everybody gets to see the carriers, right? The big ships with the jets. They got damn Starbucks on those ships, right? I was on a real warship, right? I was on 300 crew capacity. Like you can't see outside from certain parts of the ship and you're on there. I did an 11-month deployment and I did a 9-month deployment. And my wife is a military brat. Her dad did 35 years in the Navy. So she would have supported me if I stayed in. She had already lived that life. But as I told you about my history, I knew that I wanted to be a very present father when I had the opportunity to change some of the trajectory of my framing and mindset. And so after doing an 11-month deployment and a 9-month deployment, I knew that when we started a family, I don't know that I could have went on deployments and left my family at home. Not saying it's right, wrong, or different, but my personal framework, I'm like, I knew I needed to be home. Like I just had to be when I was raising my family. And so that's a choice that I made. But I loved my service in the Navy. Talk about leadership opportunity and leadership growth. Tons of examples for that. 2014, I was a ship handler of the year. Basically, I'm just whipping those multi-million-dollar warships, you know, in the ocean in contests. And so that was a super cool opportunity. In 2016, I was an instructor of the year for an entire command. And the one that's most, like one I'm most thankful for is the Navy and Marine Corps Leadership Award, because that's a Navy and Marine Corps wide award, meaning not just a command, not just my ship, the entire Navy and Marine Corps, and it's peer nominated. And so I had a lot of peers think highly enough of me to be nominated for that award, which is given out annually. And so those are some of the accomplishments that I had in the Navy. And so as we went through that, we went family, basketball, military. And so it's like, oh, this guy that did all those things, but like this is a real estate team. So like, what's this guy doing here? And so this is also my real estate journey. I currently am the team leader, owner of Cova Collective Realty. We're a top producing real estate team in Hampton Roads. I also owned a brokerage, Keller Williams Elite 757, and I've grown multiple ancillaries. And so why is it cool for you to look at me? Well, Matt's been in the game for a long time, like a long time, even though he has all of his hair and looks good, right?
Yeah, it's long hair, but it's getting gray, man. Yeah, it's getting gray.
Yeah, but at least you kept your hair. So that's why. And so I got into real estate in 2017. I joined the brokerage I'm at in 2019. So between 2019 and 2025, I was a top producer. I sold 24 homes my first year, 45 my second, 98 my third. I started a small team. When I did that, I took over a director of sales or team leader position for an office. So I did those simultaneously. Since that time, I was a team leader for 2 years. I recruited brokerage of 60 agents, grew it to 130. Then I bought the partner out in that brokerage, right? And then I became the owner of that brokerage. And then I sold that brokerage at the same time. So in 5 years, I've been every position you can be in real estate, from a single agent to a team owner to a brokerage owner to selling the brokerage. And along that way, I've also launched insurance, mortgage, ancillaries, and been on a huge wealth building journey, which is specifically legacy building for my kids. And that's an entirely different conversation, but also something I'm super passionate about. And so I can also relate to you, whether you've been in the business for 1 year, whether you're in 5, whether I'm at 8 now, right, and have big dreams. But like, I truly believe that you underestimate what you can do in 1 year. And you'd be surprised by what you can accomplish in 5. And so wherever you're at, I can meet you where you're at. And so That was the easy part, guys. If you're not a real estate professional and can't talk about yourself, talk to me. I'll make sure I'll create a hype man pro forma for you. But you got to be able to talk to your value and who you believe you are to be. And so that's Kaleo in a nutshell. And so as I went through that, I wanted to give my framework for where my leadership foundation, where the anchor point on mindset comes from. And I sound like a little girl because I coach my kids' teams and they have practice Monday, Wednesday, Friday. So I apologize if I'm going in and out, but hopefully I'm speaking clear enough.
You sound great, man. I can tell. So that's just the enthusiasm wearing off in your voice when you're screaming on the sidelines at those girls, huh?
Yeah, we're going to call it enthusiasm for sure.
Yeah, we're going to call it enthusiasm. Right, exactly. Exactly.
And so as I've got to that point, you guys now know, okay, he's a family man, he's in real estate, he has Navy history and leadership, and he's built some stuff in real estate. Maybe I should listen to him just a little bit and see what he has to say. So hopefully I got you at least able to be like, well, maybe I'll take a gander, right? And so this was the hard part that I discussed in the beginning. Now I'm in front of a room of top producing agents, team owners, leaders, husbands, wives, sisters, brothers, leaders of life. And it's like, how do I bring them value? And so I struggled with what was the topic? How was I going to go basketball? Was I going to go Navy? Was I going to go real estate? How do I incorporate all of them? Was I going to go this way, that way? And so in that, I even text messaged, because ChatGPT told me to, 20 of my closest friends and asked them, you know, if I had any leadership traits and you viewed me to have any, and what are the top 3 you think I had and why? And could you give me a list of the top leader in your life and why? And so everybody should do that. I think it was really cool.
Yeah, I was going to say, Kaleo, say that again. What were the 2 things you asked your friends?
So I asked them very specifically, when you view me, what are the top leadership traits you think I have and why? Because I wanted to apply it to real life action, and then followed that up with, I want to know who was the best leader you ever had in your life and why.
That's
right?
Everybody should take that challenge. I bet you got some incredible insight from that.
It's funny because my business partner and I drove up together. It's a 4-hour drive for us when we went to that VA. And some people sent me voice notes. So I was playing it in the car. And she's like, are we just going to listen to you about you right now for the whole trip?
Is this the Kaleo bread book? Yeah, that sounds everybody should do that. I did a similar exercise a few years back for a similar reason, where I texted a bunch of people and I asked them, I said, if you were to describe my communication style, how would you describe it? Because I was trying to understand how I show up in a room. And like I was in a, it's like, tell me how because there's always the view of who you think you are. And then there's the view of how people perceive you. The trick with this, guys, is if you do it, you have to ask people that'll be honest with you, which means sometimes you may not, don't just ask people that are going to be like, oh my God, you're the most amazing thing ever. You communicate like Shakespeare combined with, a really, really effective Robert Redford and Leonardo DiCaprio. Like, you need to, like, that's not true. You got to find people that'll be candid and be honest with you. So great exercise. I love it, Kaleo.
And when I did that, again, I then was like, oh, while I very much enjoyed the feedback, because I like that, like to go back and forth, and it was hugely insightful to learn about your people too. People, start asking next level questions like, who's your best leader in your life ever and why? You start learning levels of their relationship with you. I was like, man, that's probably more personal. I don't know that I want to put that out there. It seems a little self-serving just to talk about me in that way. But I did save all of those because I do think it's valuable information for you to have.
Totally.
So one of the friends I hit up is this guy right here. His name is Shaquille McRae. He's also super talented, runs a big team in Maryland, runs a market center in Baltimore. But why did I hit him up? It's because I knew that recently he had just become NLP certified. And I don't know if you know what that is because I still barely know. I just know it deals with him understanding the brain. It's like neuro-linguistic programming. And he went through all of this cool training on mindset and the brain and how people think. And so I was like, well, let me ask Shaq. Like, Shaq, if I was going to speak on mindset or leadership, hey, what would you do? You're an NLP instructor, right? Like, I'd love your input because I love learning from others. And that was a gift and a curse because then he sent me like screenshots of 8 pages of neuro-linguistic framing on how I should do this. And this is literally 24 hours before the presentation. I'm like, Shaq, I appreciate it, but I'm not NLP certified. So I'm going to get this for later, but I appreciate it. And one thing that kept coming up in my conversation with others was, okay, we see how you are with your family. Okay, I see how you live your life. Okay, just tell them what you. And then in his text, it resonated. Kaleo, they don't want you to make anything up. They don't need you to go come up with some new pillars of discipline. What they need you to do is figure out how to tell them what you already do consistently. And then the biggest part was they said, just tell them how you already, what you would tell Junior to do. We see you training your son all the time. And I was like, I got this. I got this. It came together. And so before I go to the next slide, I'd like all of you guys to make sure your volume's turned up because there is audio on the next slide and hopefully you guys hear it. And so I realized I'm not here to give you guys some fake spiel that I made up or I studied from ChatGPT. I'm not here to come up with the coolest man in the arena description or to explain how Kobe Bryant's quote affected my life. I'm here to just be vulnerable and transparent and say, this is how I am every day. This is what I believe to be true and why. And this is also how I lead my family, which should show you this is also how I lead my businesses and all my life. And so without further ado, please turn it up. I'm going to go to the next slide right now. Good morning, my babies. All right. What's mommy's rules? What's daddy's rules? Good job. Kyle, what time is it? Big dogs?
Daddy.
Who are you?
Her.
Who can get it?
Everyone.
Good job. Callie, what are the 3 things we can control?
To energy and effort.
Good job, baby. And Leo, what's attitude?
Stay confident, positive.
What's energy?
Always work in your room.
And what's effort?
Always try your best.
Good job. And when things don't go your way, we have to make the next play. And that means we have to
be positive on purpose.
Good job. Bring it in, bring it in, bring it in. Kina kids on 3, Kina kids on me. 1, 2, 3.
It's so good.
And so, in full transparency, my kids can't read yet. So they didn't have a teleprompter, right? They didn't have this thing. Also, my oldest is 8 years old. He can't even tie his shoes, right? And so he can do all these basketball tricks and can't tie his shoes. And if I put another picture, they all still sleep in my bed. And I love group sleeping. My wife hates it, but they're only little for so long. And I say that to say, I didn't ask them to do that for that video. You can walk in my house right now and ask them any of those prompting questions, and they know it like the top of their mind, because that's what I believe to be true. That's how I hold them accountable. That's how I act them to act in life. Like if they didn't take out the trash or I heard them talk about their mom, hey, what are 3 things we can control? Attitude, energy, and effort. Do you think your attitude was great when mom asked you to take out the trash and you smacked your lips? No? Okay, so what do we got to do? Stay confident, stay positive? Yeah, it's not that hard to take out the trash, big dog. Go take it out, right? These are little moments, but when they talk about leadership, it very much applied to my kids. And so I'm going to go through this is the Kaleo Kina family mantra. This is my Kina household family culture. It's not something that's going to be pretty and made up and super like this. It's how can I communicate with my family in a way that we're all on the same page? And so on the surface level, these little mantras sound like generic things, but I'm gonna break it down to what it means to me and why I empowered them with these ditties is what I called it. What time is it? It's game time. Game time. Every day is an opportunity to be great. Every day you wake up, every listing appointment, every buyer's appointment, every time you show up on an 8:30 call, every time you walk into a new relationship or a new meeting, it is game time. It is your opportunity to show up as the best version of yourself and be great. And that's what time it is. It's not just game time to play a sport, game time of life. Every day, it's your arena, right? Be ready to step into it. What time is it? It's game time, baby. Big dogs, gotta eat. We all know everybody has a story. Me not having a dad, my mom being a pimp, going through all these schools. You guys all have your story. Everybody came from something. It doesn't matter where you came from. We all have a story of hardship. And what I mean by that is life's not fair. It just isn't. Life will give you every excuse to be mediocre and to fail. Don't want to work out today? Don't. Stay home. Don't want to hop on the 8:30 call? Cool. Don't. Right? Don't want to go on a listing appointment because it's too many. Like, be lazy. Life's not going to encourage you to go. Life is going to say, sure, slack off. And so when I say big dogs, they say gotta eat. And what I mean by that is we have to go take what's ours with hunger and humility. What I mean by that is, like, you can have anything you want in life. I promise you can, but you got to be hungry and you got to be humble, right? But it is yours for the taking, right? Go take it. Life's not going to give us anything, right? It's our game. Who are you? Him, her. That's a phrase for kids nowadays. Dan probably knows, like, I'm him, I'm her. Like, that's just a terminology. And what I use it for them for is, like, you are more than enough. You, my son, my brother, my sister, my agent, my leaders, you are more than enough. When somebody asks you, who are you? You are him, you are her. The greatest entrepreneurs, the greatest leaders, the greatest top producers, the greatest parents, they have an unbelievable belief in self. Like, you have to believe in yourself. And so if you can believe in yourself foundationally, you can then believe in anything you're trying to accomplish, right? So you are more than enough. You're him or her. And who can get it? Everybody. And that's a double entendre. Success is available for everybody that works for it. So everybody can get it. And who can get it? Confrontational. Like, anybody that's trying to stand between me and my dreams. Don't let anybody stop you. They can get it too. They cannot stop you from achieving what you want. So who can get it? Everybody. Don't let anybody stand in your way. Unfortunately, what I've learned along the journey is some of the closest people in our life as we were growing up, they just haven't learned to think as big or to take the risk or to do that. And so they're not purposefully standing in your way or purposefully holding you back. But you have to realize that sometimes the things you say yes to are just as important as the things you say no to. And sometimes you have to say no to some people in your proximity because your environment is the invisible hand that shapes your behavior. So you need to be super intentional with getting the right people around you, right? And we'll continue to talk about what that means. The last two are what's mommy's rules. No crying, no whining, be happy. I wish I had a cool anecdote for that, but I just don't want no crying or whining in my house. I mean, if you have a lot of kids or 5 kids running around, it's like, guys, what are we doing? Be happy. And so that's the part. Be happy. You have 2 great parents. We have great siblings. We have a house. We're blessed with everything we're given. Like, figure out a way to be happy. I don't care if your brother pushed you or your sister kicked you or she stole your thing. Figure it out. And then if you can't, come to daddy and we'll figure out together, which usually they don't like as much. So, like, go find some conflict resolution in the other room quietly, please. But stop crying and whining so loud. And that's for us too. Like, are we going to cry and whine? Or are we going to be happy and own the moment, right? And then what's daddy's rules? Be healthy, be wealthy, be wise. Those are pretty locked in. But I've been on a journey of health because I have so many kids. And one thing my wife told me one day is, I support you going and being great. That's why I love you and fell in love with you. But I also want to be very clear. None of that ish matters to me if you're not here. And so I met you when you were a career athlete, but you were 25 and in shape. And I still love all of you, all extra 130 pounds of you, but you got to get some extra shit. You got to get your stuff together, right? And so I've been on a journey. I've lost 40 pounds this year. So I went from 278 to 238. And health is wealth, right? If I'm not here to be present with my family, then what am I doing it for, right? I'd rather be present. Like, you got to understand that. And then be wise. Just make good decisions. Our history teaches us, right? The things that we want to do moving forward. And so when I had that, I'm like, let's go. That's me. That's my family. That's what I believe to be true. That's what we hold ourselves accountable to every day. I challenge you, if you have a spouse, if you have children, if you have friends, do you have standards or mantras you live by? Do you have something you actually believe in that you think that this is how somebody should relationship with you? This is how somebody should be in your world. This is how you should show up for them in their world, right? These are questions I never asked myself, and I thought I didn't know the answers to. And yet, in my actual existence, I already had some of those answers. So I do challenge you to think about, for you, What is your standard as a human, as a leader, as a mom, as a dad, as a brother? And then could you quantify those in words or articulate them? I think it will become super powerful. We do this for our business. What is our mission, vision, values, and beliefs? And just like our health, sometimes our own personal mission, vision, values, and beliefs gets left in the wayside. And so I challenge all of you guys to take the opportunity to sit in your thoughts, in your mind, and in your life, and really come up with your own family mantras. And so I'm going to go through some more things that hopefully help you develop that. And so now when I had my initial family mantras in my head, I'm like, all right, now make it professional. Make it something you can teach to a real estate team or a company or leaders. Make it something that they can tangibly take away. And then you're an English major, okay? Figure it out. Like, how would you do that? And then this is what I came up with. I believe that a championship mindset, right, or leadership comes with a champion's code of commitments. And I say commitments because commitments are all the commitments we hold to other people are important, but the commitment we hold to ourselves is the most important. And everybody wants to get into real estate. And I often say, people say they want accountability, but it's self-accountability that's lacking, right? That's the hardest accountability to have, is the accountability of self. And so as leaders, as parents, as agents for your consumers, like the championship code of commitments to me became this. You need to commit to a vision. You need to commit to the process, and you need to commit to your people. Those are the three buckets, right? And you heard my son say, or my daughter say, what are the three things you can control? Attitude, energy, and effort. So I'm going to talk about how I apply those three things to these three things, right? So when we talk about the vision, I believe you need to commit to the vision with an attitude, right? And our attitude is stay positive, stay confident. Your attitude is the lens through which you see your vision. You can't do something you don't believe in, right? You just can't. Like if you don't believe in it, you'll just give half-ass effort. Positivity isn't ignoring reality. It's choosing confidence in the middle of chaos, right? So when I say next play, that means whatever is happening, don't get too far high, don't get too far down, somewhere in between. So just stay confident, stay positive, make the next play, right? It's not being fake. I'm not being fake because I'm staying in my belief. I'm being positive in the middle of chaos because somebody has to be the anchor point to move forward. And so as you guys create the end of year, your business plan, your goals, all of these things, you have to see the win before others believe it, right? So you have to be the driver of that. And what I say about that is like my real estate journey. My real estate journey and my vision, when I first started, I just wanted to do one deal a year. One deal a year, which is 12 units, would match or be close enough to my Navy salary with all the benefit. Like that was good enough. Then, but I had to see that people like, Kay, you are a Naval Academy grad. You're not going to go work for the government. You're not going to go do this. You're not going to go do that. I'm like, well, entrepreneurship and in this form, real estate, I feel like it offers me the most opportunity to not only go drive a business, but also be as present as I want for my family. I don't know what that looks like, but I think that that's what's at the end of the tunnel. And what I found in that was that everything I ever wanted, financial increase, flexibility, and fulfillment was there in real estate. What I didn't know in the beginning was in the grind, in the hustle and bustle, like everything else, the things that I had to sacrifice at first was finances, flexibility, and fulfillment, right? And so I had to drive for a certain period of time. It took me 18 months. So I sold 3 houses in my first 9 months. And then in a rolling 12, 24 after that, I got to 24 and 45. So even on that journey, the vision was like, I need to make this money for the family. I did everything you weren't supposed to. I got out the Navy, I bought a house, had a baby, bought a car. Like my financial things flipped. And while I didn't have debt, I only had $5,000 in savings. This is not a pity story. My no debt and $5,000 in savings already put me at the head of my family. I was already more accomplished than anyone in my family. So that is not to say, oh, well, no. I was already doing good in my anchor point at that time in my life, right? And so as I went along, the greatest month of my life and the worst month of my life happened at the same time. I made more money than I ever wanted to make. In July of 2021, I closed 12 deals as a solo agent with no admin, no support, no nothing. I made over 6 figures in 1 month, right? Now, July 4th, that weekend, I have 24 showings. I'm taking my kid around. My oldest is only like 9 months at the moment. So it's easy. He's in a car seat, he's in the back seat. People love when I show up with a child because I'm this big Hawaiian dude, but I show up with the baby and it's like, oh, he's a family guy. Like he's relatable, like blah, 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 blah. So I use them all the time to go with me on showings. Well, on this specific weekend, Navy, it's July 4th, I'm in a military area. Tons of showings scheduled. I'm taking my son, and my vision was to be a great dad, to make money for my family, and to establish a business. So in this moment, I'm taking my son out, we're going on showings, and he's crying in the backseat. I can see him in my wing, and my wife buys all the gadgets. So I have the mirror that sees his face, that looks in the mirror where I can look in his mirror to see his face kind of thing. So I know he's crying. So I'm like, boom, bottle. He's got the bottle. We're going to the show. I'm at the third house. It's across from a park called Wichita. I still remember exactly where it was at. And I look back and he's crying again. So I take the little thermometer thing out and he has a fever. And what I lost in that vision on my real estate jersey at the moment is that the purpose of the real estate journey was to be a more present father, to generate income and to start a business. But the first thing was to be a more present father. And in that moment, I was a 31-year-old dragging his sick child around the showings, right? And internally, I had some dialogue where I'm a sports guy and a Navy guy, so I talk like to myself, like in frank language. But I pretty much looked myself in the eye and said, "You are a bitch because your son is sick, and you're mad at him for crying because you got showings to do, and you're choosing money over family. This is everything you said you didn't want. Your ass should have just went on deployment if you're going to be this type of father." And in that moment, my vision for real estate changed, right? It's okay for your vision to change. My vision was be a top producer, make the most money. That's all I'm making. I'm rolling in the dinero. And in this moment, I'm like, that's not what I want. I paid agents $100 a showing for 24 houses that weekend. And I went straight to my mentor and I said, I need to figure out how to run a business or start a team or own a broker or something, but it can't be this. Because in my next phase of journey, like I know that it's not going to be the father that I want. I need leverage. I got to figure that out, right? And so then I changed that part of my journey, but I had to commit to the vision. I committed to real estate. I committed to being a good father, and I had to change how I was going to get there, right? But you have to, in that, stay positive and confident. In that quick conversation with myself, I wasn't positive and confident. I was beating myself down, but I quickly flipped that immediately to being solution-oriented. All right, I'm going to pay these agents to do this. I'm going to figure out my business for the next 3 months. I'm going to bring on some leverage, and this is how I'm going to do it. But I know I can do it. But it wasn't my vision before, right? So you got to understand as your vision changes, you have to revisit your vision. You have to commit to your vision. And then during the process of trying to accomplish it, you have to stay positive and confident because there are going to things that try to derail you. The 50 people that hung up on you if you're a cold caller, the 3 people that only showed up to your event if you're in your database, anything that's going to derail you and put you in a negative mindset, you got to stay positive and stay confident. So my question to you would be is, what's one area of your life or your business where your vision's gotten blurry, right? Like, is it your health? Is it your family? Is it your business actual, right? And if your future self walked into a room, well, there's 2 versions of this. If you followed yourself around every day right now for 24 hours, 48 hours for 1 week, and you just stood behind you and you watched all the actions you were taking to accomplish your dream, would you be impressed or depressed? That's just a question you can answer, right? Would you be impressed by what you've done 24 hours a day, every day in that week towards your goal? Or would you be like, that's not good? And so if 5 years from now, a new version of you walked in, the best version of you walked in and could talk to you right now and said, hey, I know things are a little tough, but stay focused on this so that we can accomplish that. What would they tell you to stay focused on, right? I want you to think about that. 2, you got to commit to the process. The first was commit to the vision with attitude, commit to the process with energy. You have to be the hardest worker in the room. You figure out what that means to you. But your energy is the visible proof of your internal belief. When somebody walks into the room, you can tell if they're in a good mood or bad mood. My team already knows what kind of meeting we're going to have when I walk in, right? They're like, oh, okay, are you good? And I know that as soon as they ask me that, I got to change my energy because they've already noticed that I might not have stepped into it with the energy I want, right? And energy is shown in the things that you don't know, like the daily reps that no one sees, right? The energy to get back up after you fail. Falling is not the bad part. Staying down or getting up lethargically is. You have to get up and make the next play. It's okay to fail, right? And then 3, the ability to pivot without losing momentum. Change everything but the goal. If you want to pivot, pivot, but don't lose momentum. Don't come to a full stop. You got to keep moving forward, right? And so when I think about being the hardest worker in the room, you think about discipline, you think about your relationship with failure, and you think about your relationship with adaptability. It's like my son's basketball journey. When we're doing drills, he's 8 years old, and he's really good for an 8-year-old, right? And the way we believe in ourselves, like, go give me any other 8-year-old in the country, we can throw him on the court 1v1. Like, we're ready for it. Like, he can get after it. But when we work out, he can go in and out, cross, behind the back, tween, shot fake, heads. He can do it all. But when he's doing it all perfectly, he feels that he's doing great. And he should be proud of learning how to do that. But I tell him, you're not going hard enough. And he's like, what do you mean, Dad? It's perfect. I'm like, because you're not pushing yourself. Like, if you're not messing up, you're not going hard enough. You're not pushing yourself to get better. You're staying in your comfort. When somebody tells me I have 100% conversion on my listing appointments, that's great. Celebrate that. What that tells me as your leader, you don't go on enough appointments. Or you only go on the ones that you're comfortable with and they're absolutely going to, like, you're not pushing yourself enough to then go generate the results you want. And so understand that your relationship with the process, it's not failing that's the problem. You need to push yourself to failure and then learn from it, right? And so when I think about that, how do you deal with failure with your energy? Think about everybody in your life, your agents, your team, your spouse, your kids. Who feeds off your energy? And when you think about how you show up in every space of your life, the tired dad who speaks to 100 people a day and then comes home and is like, I'm tired, I'm all talked out. Does my family deserve that energy? I chose to go drive this life, right? When I had a long night because the babies didn't sleep and I show up into a buyer's appointment and I'm like, do my clients deserve that energy? I chose my family and I chose to show up for this appointment, right? So for you, when you're making the calls, when you want to do the text, we do some cold call or some lead gen, like, do you show up to your lead gen session with energy that you're going to crush it? Or is it like, well, I know this is a check in the box. At least I can say I did it, right? When you show up on this call, is it just to be on the call or is it to participate? Because I believe there's privilege in production, but I believe there's privilege in participation as well, which is why I show up for these calls for you guys now, right? So think about that. And the last thing is you got to commit to your people with effort. And all I care about effort is always try your best. Effort is how love shows up in your leadership. You can't say you care about people if you're not giving them your best attention, support, and example, right? And so what I mean by that is like how you show up in the small moments in your relationship with your consumers, with each other, right? With your team is what really matters. And what I mean by that is like, an example I have is in the Navy, I had a captain, and in my first real estate journey, I had a broker. In the Navy, when you check onto a ship, you meet the captain, and then every year you get a fitness report. So I checked into the ship. The next year, I sat down with my captain, Captain Kilby, and I'm speeding up because I know there's 7 minutes. And he goes, Kay.
You got time. You got time, dude.
Okay,
Take
cool.
your time in case you're good. Right.
And so Captain Kilby, when I sat down, the first thing he asked me is, Kay, how's your sisters, Kiana and Kayla, doing? And I don't know about you guys, but for me, for working under a ship, multiple chains of command in between us, for me to sit down with the head honcho and for him to ask me first how my sisters are doing. I'm on the East Coast. My family lives in Arizona. I don't know the last time somebody asked me about my sisters. It was just a powerful moment that I always remembered. I was like, damn, he really I wonder how he did that. And what I found out later, which is cool, when he met with me the first time, he takes sticky card notes and he writes down cool things about the person when he met him so that the next time he talks to them, he brings it up. So in the grand scheme, he just read a note and did it. But that's effort. Small effort, but effort nonetheless to show the love and care he had in it, right? And so how could we apply that to us, guys? How do we show the level of effort? Just so you guys know, I have a business partner. Her name's Megan Anderson. And I take this thing because I got it from him, right? And I was like, all the people that are important to me in my life, I'm going to make sure. Sometimes we forget names, nicknames, whether they have brothers and sisters, their favorite food, their favorite color, their birthday, right? That oftentimes you forget those things. I don't know if you can see this, but this is in my business partner, Megan's profile on my phone. And I do this for all of my like very close circle of influence, right? And it says she loves French fries. If she goes drinking, she likes Bombay. If somebody buys her shots, she likes Jameson. She likes puppies. Her favorite crab chips are Utz. And her daughter's name's Ayla. This is her birthday in April 1. Like, I know it so that I can show up for her. She knows I'm here. I work in the business every day with her. But the last time she got sick and she said, oh, I said, hey, do you want me to DoorDash you some chicken noodle soup and your favorite crab chips? Like the fact that I threw on her favorite crab, she's like, damn, Kay got my back. Like, that's my guy. Like, no wonder I partner with him, right? I have all of those. So like for you, your top 20 clients, your teammates, your leadership, are you taking small notes that you can revisit to show that you put effort into the relationship, right? So that's a little hack that I use, right? And so when I see that, who in your world right now needs your leadership on how you show effort so they can model how you grow, how you relationship, how you live, right? Those are things that are super important to you, right? So when we talk about leadership and we talk about mindset, I want to talk about how you can apply your leadership principles, your mindset principles, right? And so as I wrap this up, I believe that when people ask me about the champion or leadership and mindset, I came up with like, I believe the champion has a code of commitments, that they have to commit to a vision, that they have to commit to a process, and they have to commit to their people. And I believe that is a foundation for good leadership, right? And I break it down. But I believe what unlocks a championship mindset is that you have to commit to the vision with attitude. You have to commit to the process with energy, and you have to commit to your people with effort. And when you do that, that is when what I believe you have a championship mentality, right? All encompassing of those. And so when we hop off this call or when I end this and we open it up for Q&A, because I have time too, and we think about life and we think about how we show up as a human, as a family leader, as a business leader, as a friend leader, right? And you guys come out and you step outside into the world, right? To take on the day, ready to take on the day on this beautiful Friday. And the world asks you, hey man, what time is it? I hope that you hear the Kina kids in the background, right? And that you answer, it's game time.
It's game time, dude. Awesome. Kaleo, you killed it, buddy. This is so powerful. The fact that you've only done that twice. Well, first of all, you've been doing it your whole life. That's not the second time you've talked about that. Your process of distillation of bringing the way you operate to other people, it's so powerful. And I personally, I can't thank you enough. We've got hands popping off. People been texting me throughout the call. Like, you have delivered an amazing amount of value here. So we're going to take every minute we can from you, my friend. Kasha, talk to us. Tell us what you're thinking.
First of all, pages and pages of notes. Thank you so much. I really should listen to that on repeat for the next months until I really memorize everything that you said. My personal ask for you, can you please produce 10 more kids? Because who you're putting out there into the world are such amazing humans that they are going to have such big impact on the world. Like ripple effect to the, don't stop.
Thank you. And I think
Thank you so much. I don't have a question. I just have so much gratitude.
And that means a lot to me. My love language is verbal affirmation. So that definitely means a lot. And like, I'm just so passionate that everybody on this call has the opportunity to impact their life at such a high level. Right. And so, I'm grateful that I left you with some value. And Matt knows I'm super relational. So, I mean, I would keep in touch with everybody on the call if I could, or revisit, come down. But like, thank you for that. I appreciate it.
Tony, what are you thinking? Thank you, Kasha.
So Such an amazing call. We have so many speakers, and during the call, people are texting me, this guy's amazing. Living a dream, man, making babies and selling houses. Like, it doesn't get any better. Something you said that really hit home for me during COVID. My wife, she's a nurse, so she had to work, and she wasn't a newborn, she was within 1 year, and I used to bring her around to showings, and I wasn't the dad that I wanted to be because it was raining a lot. It was like during the winter months, and I would get upset, but I never thought of, I wasn't on the team. I never thought of leverage. And even at that time, if I'm like, hey, I can leverage this out to go and grow my business. And this is something I still struggle with to this day. Like, I'm like, I don't have the money to pay someone to show the house, or I don't have the money to pay someone to do like the inspection or to help cover me. Like, and I talk myself out of it, and I don't move forward. What is your advice around that? Because I don't want to make my wife mad. She's working all day, and I don't want to. I just want to do the best I can as a dad, and also provide. So, like, what would you advise like someone that's going through that?
Yeah, I think that when you evaluate any opportunity or position, there's three buckets, right? It's financials, it's flexibility, and it's fulfillment. And different phases of your life causes for those to increase in certain buckets and for you to actually take a step back in some of those, right? So like when all I wanted to do was make the most money, I just went all into real estate and I was working 24 hours a day. We've all been there. We're military town. I'm taking calls from Japan at 1 o'clock in the morning, like all these things, right? But it was to drive a big financial result. My flexibility and fulfillment was super low. Like I wasn't happy doing all of that all the time, but I chose to do it to drive a big result. Then when it came to the leverage part, it came to like how much of the money, like I'm making money now, like how much of it am I willing to give up to get the fulfillment and the flexibility to be with my family, right? And some of it is forecasting. And then what I would say for you is relationships. Who's somebody that's in a similar boat that you can partner with to pay for a showing assistant or to come up with a model where you share a percentage of your split. Like there's multiple ways you can do it. And I didn't get into my entire leadership journey, but when I first got into leverage, I partnered with three other real estate agents and we paid for an operations person and we split it three ways because I was scared. I didn't want to pay a 30K salary. I've never done that in my life. Like that was crazy, right? So we split it three ways. And then we just monitored if it was bringing us value or not. And then we also did that with showing assistants. And we kind of built, as I got more productive, right? Then I got my own showing assistant. But I shared expenses with multiple people that I trusted or that were trying to play the same game as I, so that it didn't all fall on me and that we would cover down for each other.
You know, Kaleo, your story, there's patterns in everything that you do, and it always comes down to like every time you tell part of your story, the problem is the path for you. Like you really do embody that failing forward mindset in a sense of every time you've encountered something like what Tony just talked about, or even through your journey where your son's got a fever. Each time you've got an amazing ability to pivot quickly. And this comes from playing sports, being in the Naval Academy, like pivot quickly to, okay, the problem's the problem, time to move on and figure it out, because resourcefulness is actually the thing that delineates those of us that are able to achieve at a high level and those who aren't. And your commitment to it is what gets you through the tough point. Like you have no quit in you, right? Like that doesn't mean you have no hard times, but like, hey, I'm struggling, and you don't say not for me. You say it is for me, but how? It's brilliant, and it's infectious, and contagious. So love it, love it, love it, love it, love it. Nathaniel, what are you thinking, man?
Hey, thanks so much for jumping on this call today. It's been really impactful. Um, the last two guys actually kind of spoke on my question that I wrote down was or more so thought around the frustration with the situation with your son, dragging, I don't mean it like that, but bringing your child around to the showings and all that, and you having a moment, right? Where you were frustrated, you realized you were frustrated, you took a moment um, to figure out why you were frustrated, reflecting on that moment, and then figuring out what you needed to do to overcome that. That's something that's really powerful because it's actually something I've personally been working on, and it's a thought process that I had trying to figure out, right? Identifying where the frustration is, because I think that like when you find yourself in a frustrating moment, right? And you realize that it's like I'm frustrated. The frustration comes from lack ability to solve whatever the current issue is. And not that you were incapable of doing it, but you had to, recognize that something needed to be adjusted for you to solve that challenge and to get to the acquired outcome. And I think that's an amazing leadership trait. It'd be great if you take a minute or two to speak more on that. But yeah, just want to speak to that. Thank you.
No, I love that. Thank you for your transparency and vulnerability. One, I think that now that's not to go whatever, but like we all hear about mothers having space, and I'm pro mom. Trust me, I still am. But like what I've discovered in this is like there needs to be a space for dads with kids that are trying to figure it out with their spouse too. And so I don't know if you guys would do. I go and specifically create communities that will help that I can bring value to and help me. So 3 years ago, Dan may know about it. He might have seen us talk about it here or there. I have a 3D group chat with like 7 dads in real estate where we just meet monthly on a Zoom and we basically vent to each other and we help each other just process or just talk out loud. It's like I'm struggling with this, like my wife with this, my kids are this. And then as other men, we're able to pour into and provide a safe space to get it out. And what I would say for you guys is that it's like the first thing in real estate to me that you need to figure out is driving production. Once you drive your production, then you can leverage anything else out because you need to commit to that. But like a lot of people say, I'll do whatever it takes. And I think what we miss is that's just the first half of the statement. When you really believe in something, are you willing to do whatever it takes for as long as it takes? And are you willing to sit like, I didn't like 2-a-days. I didn't like that for 4 years in college. I never got a summer or a Christmas because basketball training was there. I didn't like that when coach said, hey, we have optional film room and training sessions. Like, that's not optional. Like, he expects us to be there, right? So I think that my life and then the Navy built something inside of me that like I'm gonna be first. I'm gonna be the best. No matter what happens, I'm gonna figure it out, right? And when I shifted to that thing, like I went from immediately trying to do it on my own to moving 30% of my net profit to another person. Now, the last thing I'll say as we got other hands, I want to respect everybody's questions, and we can always hop off online in different communities and stuff. But like, you got to know your value. You got to figure out what your value is. Where are you crushing it? How can you? I have a lot of people when I first started my team, my agents worked for 10% splits, 20% splits, and 30% splits. That was just my model. And a lot of people would be like, I would never do that. That's cool. You don't have to. But I make 300K in GCI and they're going to make 10% of the 300K. They're going to make 30K just by partnering with me. And I don't touch their own business today. That was my model in the beginning. But you have to understand what your value is and what you bring to it, right? Like, I don't know how long you guys have been in the industry, but a new agent that wants to shadow somebody or intern for showings and that should be an easy sell. Like I can go sell somebody to partner with me right now. So it's you getting your value and then your ability to communicate what they're going to get by being in relationship with you. If you can do that, you'll find out how easier these opportunities become.
The piece I want to add to that, Nathaniel, specifically to your question, when you encounter things like, and this is what Kaleo has illustrated for us, when you encounter things that are a challenge, you are oftentimes, and Tony, you spoke about it a little bit too. I think oftentimes we go inward and try to solve it ourselves. But when Kaleo was faced with presenting his mindset on leadership, he told you the story of how he prepared. And he told you guys where he went. And none of it was he sat in a room by himself, twiddling his thumbs, trying to figure it out all on his own. He engaged the world. He got to coaches, mentors, friends. He went out and said, if you had this problem, how would you solve it? So like I see this often, especially with new agents, we allow our ego to be the driver of where we find solution. And you've got to get your ego out of the way and say like, who's done this before? And if I'm going to model it, who's the person that I'm going to follow? because leadership, the biggest part, one of the biggest pieces of leadership is fellowship. Like no one becomes a great leader just magically by not following a great leader. At some point, we all learn it from someone that comes before us. And so, like, if you're inside of a frustrating moment, your objective is solve the problem. And the best way to do that is go find somebody who's solved that problem and ask them how they did it. You're not the only one, not in this business.
So me and Matt are speaking the same language, and we didn't rehearse this, but what you want to do, somebody's already done it before. And I think people like, Kay, you're really good at building relationships. I'm like, am I? If we're in the business of people, then we should care. We should make getting to know people our business. And we should do it with attitude, energy, and effort. And so in his model, everybody on here, it doesn't care, new agent, audit, there should be 3 people in your bucket list of relationships at all times. 1, the person that inspires and motivates you, lives a life by design that you can relate to by your same moral code and everything that you look up to. You should be watching how they're growing, right? Now, a guy that makes $1 billion but gets a divorce and has 3 ex-wives, that's not for me because that's not the life I want to live morally. But I need to go find the person that lives by the codes that I want to live by. 2, somebody in the boat with you. There's no more powerful energy than somebody who believes in the same direction you're going. There's no thing to stay in the fight. When you're down on yourself, you borrow theirs, they borrow yours, but somebody you look up to and then somebody in the boat with you. And then the last thing is, for you guys, you have kids. Be a leader, be a ladder. When you think about how you're showing up in a moment, when you think about how you're arriving to your job or how you're showing up, is that the example you want to set for your kids, right? Is that the example you want to set for your friends? Is that who are you lifting up? Who are you articulating the value to so that you can pour into somebody else to help them elevate? Because when somebody succeeds through you or you help them succeed, there's no better feeling than that, right? So make sure that you have your 3 buckets filled in terms of who are you inspired by, who's driving the race or in the boat with you, and who are you lifting up? And it could be one person that encapsulates different moments, or it can be buckets of people that you pull from in each one of those. But the relationship is super important. He said it, I'm going to steal it from now as my thing. Like, whenever I have a problem, I don't solve it. Kaleo's Hawaiian from a 16-year-old mother that was married 3 different times. I did go to Naval Academy. I almost failed out my first semester. But like, I think I have a problem. Who do I need to know? Who can solve this problem with me or for me? Like, that's it. Go find the person. I 1000% agree with that.
Somebody's done it. Yeah. Aaron Anderson, what are you thinking?
I mean, this was such an amazing call. Thank you for being here. I just wanted to share some of my takeaways. You said something very early on in this presentation, and I don't know if everybody really caught it, but you kind of started with do something even if you're not ready yet. So you got this challenge to present, and it was like you could have asked for more time. You could have, talked yourself out of it or said you're not ready or been worried, but we're faced with that challenge every day in this industry. And I think the bravest thing you can do is to do something scared or do something not quite confident, because that's where the growth happens and the failure. And you probably learned something today from presenting that you might want to change for the next time, or hearing the feedback from all of us. Like, you definitely made an impact. So thank you for showing up, even if you weren't quite ready yet. And then I think the other thing that was a good reminder is that the things that we want from this industry are the things you have to sacrifice in the beginning. And so there's no way around that. You have to, I think, experience that so that you can then appreciate it and become that resourceful person that solves the problem. But you can't avoid it. No one becomes great by taking the easy road, and there is going to be some level of sacrifice. And I appreciate your story because I've been there. I still to this day have a lot of moments where I realize what I'm doing in the moment does not make me the best parent that I want to be or the best partner that I want to be, because it does constantly require sacrifice. And but the ability to recognize it and quickly pivot and shift it is so important. So thank you very much for sharing all of your very vulnerable stories, because I think we've all been there. So
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah, amen. Joe, what are you thinking? Thank you, Aaron.
Well, thanks for being here. A lot of what you said resonated with me. I played sports all my life. I played high level hockey, and I think the number one thing that I've always struggled with, and it's something that I continue to work on, is how I bring that same level of intensity that I was able to bring when I was playing hockey into this because, as you know, it's the same but it's different. There's a different level of intensity that's brought, and for me, I've always been able to, if something had to get done, um, when I was training, it got done. And I think what I was lacking is that framework, and a lot of what you had said is that framework of what you're bringing every single day when it comes to what your standard is, what your mantra is, those little things that I can tell. Well, that's what you do in a locker room. Your kids, a group is your little huddle, is your little locker room you're bringing every single day. And to be quite frank, I don't really have that right now. So it's given me just a framework for something to think about differently and try to bring that same level of intensity that I've been working so hard to find and bring into my real estate business.
No, I love that. And one of the things as an athlete, like Matt was there, and you guys saw this call. Like when I stepped in, like the level of intensity, like bring it.
Mhm.
When I stepped on to present in person, I was like, "Let's go!" People were like,
Yeah,
"Who
it's amazing.
Ryan guy?" Like in the beginning, I'm like, you hear me clapping because that's what I'm doing to get like it's inside. Like I'm like, all right, this is who I am. Like the
Yeah.
world's not asking me to be different. The world is asking you to communicate who you are, maybe in a strategic manner. But no, those traits you got from sports, service member industries like restaurant owners and military, like those are people are primed to like be great in this field. Like we know what
Mhm.
discipline is, we know what commitment is, we know how to work through problems and solutions, we know how to get over the hump. And so one thing that you just said is what I found when I was doing this with my kids. I believed, oh, what do you control? I did it with kids that I coached in high school, like attitude, energy, and effort. But when you bring it into your house or into your being or into your workspace, you start asking yourself those things like, damn, did I handle that conversation with my ops team with a great attitude? Did I stay positive and confident? No, I didn't. Did I show up to that team meeting with the energy that I tell my like if I'm gonna yell at my son about not showing up like that at his game or his practice, who am I to not behold that as a man every single day?
Mhm.
So my kids have just become the pillar of lens of which I view how I act. Like I need to know because they care about what I say, but trust me, them kids watch. Your consumers watch you online. Your team watches you in the office. You're always been people see if you're real or not, or how you show up. And so
Yeah.
I would just say embrace those sports qualities, and figure out how to make them your superpower because they are.
Kaleo, you've just sparked something in me, and it's actually part of a conversation Joe and I were having recently. That like there is a funny moment that happens for everybody who desires something and knows they have the power to influence change, but you feel awkward or uncomfortable in the moment, right? Like Joe walking in the office tomorrow and just screaming at the top of his lungs, "Let's go, game time!" Like we don't do that right now, but that's what Joe really wants. Like he wants that environment, he wants that energy, that enthusiasm, that intensity, right? And like he knows he could do it. He's just like, yeah, but should I be the guy screaming and yelling? And the tricky part is that when you're the leader, that's actually the thing. You're the first one to do it. Like you have to be willing to be the first one to do it and see how people respond. And the vulnerability of leadership is sometimes people don't buy it. And you have to say, back to your point, which is so clear, you're committed to the vision of what you want. And so you're still going, you're bringing the intensity, whether they come or not, because you're committed to the vision. And what happens is the people that are committed to that same effort, and intensity, they start gravitating toward you. And the ones that are repelled by it start going away. It's not your job as a leader to make everybody happy. It's your job to show people the path, and the path has to be a part of the vision that you have. So you've articulated that really, really well, Kaleo.
Yeah.
Really, really well. And again, the challenge for everybody here is in what part of your life are you do you know what you're supposed to do? That you know where you're supposed to increase or turn up the volume on your intensity, turn up the volume on what and you're just not doing it because you're afraid to be first. Well, that's what leaders are. They're the first. So you got to lead. You got to start now and turn up the volume. Create it.
And
Hey, the first time I said to everybody, you have to show up at the 8:30 call. Not everybody showed up. And that was enough evidence for me to say, oh, they're not going to do it. Maybe we shouldn't do that. But that's just not what we did, right? We committed to it. We said this is how we rise up every day. So it's great. It's awesome. Thank you, Joe. Great point. Great point. EB, what are you thinking? Let's take us home, EB. take us home. And you know the deal, Aaron. You got to send us off today.
Oh, great. No pressure.
Yes, no
Kaleo,
pressure.
thank you so much. I was also raised in a funky environment with a single mom, and basketball was a big part of my life, although I did not go anywhere past a championship varsity basketball team. But that was a great experience for me. I did not play in college at the level professionally that you have. So kudos to you, because it is a tough sport, tough game. And it
Well, I
requires
will say, I'm big on making sure you know your value. Kaleo Kina never won a varsity championship, so kudos to you. You know, you
Well, that
definitely.
was a team thing, but yes. But I just want to know where, like, when things get tough and you have that reflection and you have to look inside yourself to dig deep, does it come from your Hawaiian roots? Does it come from your single mom? Does it come from basketball? Does it come from your military background? Where does Kaleo get that so we can all kind of feed off that energy? Where do you grab that, like, wherewithal to just drive forward and say, I'm not my best version of myself today? Because you have this crazy ability to have insight into
Yeah.
your own, even though you've had this high level of success. I hear you say, well, I'm not achieving what I can today at the highest level possible. And a lot of us are looking at you like, dude, yeah, you are. So how do you, once you reach that level of success, still find that drive inside you? Where does it come from?
I think that our history provides us the superpower in which we need to just understand and step through. And so, you know, this might be over transparent. I might not be, but growing up, 16-year-old mom. I had three stepdads. When my stepdads would leave and visit, they'd visit my siblings, right? And I always felt not enough. Like, damn, you raised me, but you don't, like, nobody cares about me. My mom's working all the time. So and I was the oldest of all of my siblings and stepbrothers and sisters when our house grew. So I'm the oldest. I have to lead the kids. And yet I felt like nobody loved me. And so part of my relationship journey is like, I'm always trying to prove to you that I'm worth being your friend. I'm worth being in business with you. I'm worth following. And what I learned through that process was I can speak a lot, but nothing matters more than how I show up. And so in everything I do, it's just like, I'm going to be the best at it. Now, am I the best at everything? No, but I believe that I can be the best at it. And so like, even with my agents now, I'm like, I ain't took a listing appointment in 8 years. 100% without a shadow of a doubt. You tell me there's a contest in 48 hours, I'll be the best listing agent. I just believe, I hope you believe you'll beat me, but I believe I'm gonna be it. This is the truth. I was an officer, an admin. If they had an executive assistant or transaction coordinator of the year and my team can benefit from me winning it, I will go be the fucking transaction coordinator, final four. I'll be in that mug trying to figure it out. Like there's just something that I said, once you believe in yourself, nothing is unattainable. And I think it has come from a life of leading, of history. So it encompasses all the sports I've been in. I wasn't a starter all my life. I got cut my 7th grade year. I played 8th grade. In Arizona, they have a freshman, a JV, and varsity team. My freshman year, I played freshman, right? In college, my coach listen to this. My coach pulled me in my freshman year, and he said, "Kay, you know how some people need to turn over a leaf, like with their attitude, with their energy, with their play." And I was like sitting in here with a teammate because we got in a fight, right? So we're like, he's like, "You don't just need to turn over a leaf. You need to turn over a whole fucking tree or you're out of here." Like, and I was like, damn, a tree? I ain't never turned over a tree, right? But what I've learned is through all those experiences, like one thing, you're either 100% in or 100% out. Nobody can be in between. So these are my last 2 quotes I'll give you guys. You're either 100% in or 100% out. You can't be in between. And that's on self, I believe. That's how I apply it. Like, I'm either committing to this or not. Otherwise, don't do it. Or if I'm going to do it, then freaking do it and figure it out. Like, there's no going backwards. Like, I'll figure it out. If real estate ended tomorrow, Kaleo would be fine. I would figure something out, right? And then the second thing is I need you guys to hear this. Every day, you're either getting better or you're getting worse. Nobody stays the same. And so sometimes we get to a level and then you just relax and you're like, oh, like, just so you know, every day your skill set's deteriorating, whether it's as a partner, as a agent, as this or that. So my coach used to be like, we have 5 huddles, you have 3 huddles a week you got to be on. And you're like, oh, well, I made the huddle, or I went to the weight room, I went to training. And he's like, how many days a week are there? 7. So you went to all the things on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, which is +3, but you didn't do anything on Sunday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday, which is -4. So every week you're like, oh, I went to 3 practices a week. And he's like, dog, you're -4 for the month. It's -1 every week. you're negative 52 by the end of the year. So every day, we call it lead gen session, but in that 4 hours of the morning, what is one thing you're getting better at? What are you sharpening? Real estate doesn't ask you to do it 24/7. We choose to do it to drive a result in certain phases that we have to do it. It asks you to be intentional. And who here has absolutely done shit in 24 hours and felt like they were working all day? And then one day you're locked in for 3 hours and you're like, I did all the work for the month. Like crazy how you can do that, right?
Mhm.
There are moments where like I accomplished so much in 3 hours. And there are moments where I go 3 days, I'm like, oh, what did I do? Like, what have I accomplished, right? So getting very clear that you're either in or out, and you have to internally look at that. And then I'll say the last thing is, I'm just very big on relationships. I always come back to that. Do you have a person? Do you have 2 people that are as close to you or in your business that like you can close the door and just have those conversations out loud? Because they're just tough to have. Like, last thing I promise I can talk. I have a best friend. We were on our relationship journey, husbands, right? Being better men, father figures, right? And I love all my friends in our circles. And let's just say that I know that he wasn't the best version of a husband that he could be, right? And just know, like, I don't judge you. That's your relationship, but I respect your family. So you need to make sure whatever. Like, he knows I love him and his family, right? And so one day we come back from a trip and he's literally complaining to me about his wife. He's like, she says, I'm not home or I'm not giving her energy and these kids and that. And I said, dog, stop talking to me. He's like, damn, Kay, what you mean? I was like, you think you deserve the right to talk to me about your wife? He's like, what do you mean? I said, if God came down right now and judged you and gave you A, B, C, or D, or F on a scale of how great of a husband you are, I know it's not A through C. I'll let you pick D or F. And he's like, damn, it's like that. I'm like, bro, it's not like that between me and you. It's like that because I love you. And if I'm gonna love you the way I say I love you, that's on you. Like, don't talk to me about her. Like, I actually agree with her. So figure it out. But you got to have people so real when Matt said, when you talk like that, you can have like, bro, I don't feel like lead gen. Okay. Like, don't complain to me at the end of the year if your money ain't where you want it to be at. Right?
Amen.
Like, I don't want to do this. Like, who do you have that will speak the truth to you in love, right? And not just feel like an attack. Because sometimes you need that. And then somebody that's like, bro, we're in this together. Let's go. Like, we're either going to do it or not, right? And so that's what I would say. Thank you for that.
Kaleo, what a friggin' powerful way to send it off. And I owe you a debt of gratitude, my friend. You have delivered above and beyond 150% all morning today. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Now you've got a team of people here that are just walking out ready to take on everything that comes their way. How can we help you? You got a powerhouse group of people in the Connecticut, Massachusetts ready to rock and roll. How can we help you? Where can we follow you? What socials can we come on? Where can we make a comment that's going to help drive your mission forward? Who can we tell about what an amazing experience we had? Like, what can we do for you?
Absolutely. So I'll reach out to Corey and I'll send you guys a link to join our Cova Collective Realty. It's just agent referral page. So we post tons of value and develop relationships with agents. If possible, I'd like to send out a link for feedback as I'm going on this journey of this presentation, getting that. And just a resource. We're in Virginia Beach. I'd love that. But the biggest thing you could do for me, honestly, this is the truth. And this is what I believe to be true. If you guys just step out and you start crushing it, and then Matt, I see Matt at a convention or at a Gloveview retreat in January, and he's like, yo, one of my agents was on that call with you that morning and he fucking changed his mind or her mind and they're crushing it. Thank you for that. That would be the best thing that could happen. So I want you guys to go own it. And then the last thing is, if I could, when I say what time is it, you say game time. What time is it?
Game time.
Game time. I love it. I love it. All right, Kaleo, thank you, sir. Guys, you know the drill. We know what to do. It's a Friday, which means, by the way, 24 open houses this weekend, guys. Crushing it 3 weeks before Christmas. Could not be prouder of that. 24 open houses statewide. So we know the drill. Go out, do the thing. That means sign, sell, set. Right, Aaron? Right, EB? That's right. Go do the thing. See you later, everybody. Make it an amazing day. Thank you.
Thanks, Kaleo.